Chris Martin here with Free Effects Tutorials, and today we're going to do a cool tracking tutorial that's going to show the integration between Cinema 4D and After Effects. So we are going to use some art beats footage. Let's just start this up. So we've got this clip named 2557-03, and it's this plane taxiing down the runway. So that's what we're going to start out with. This is what we're going to end up with.
Roger, this is the tower. We have a high-velocity object inbound at your 12. Please confirm.
So we're going to 3D track this art beats footage in After Effects, and after we get a solution, we're going to send all that information over to Cinema 4D, where we're going to set up this dynamic simulation here, and then we're going to get everything back into After Effects. So I'm going to import my footage. There we go. It's 1280 by 720, 30 frames per second. Let's go ahead and drop that in the new comp. And that's what we have. So I'm going to right click on the footage. I'm going to go to track camera, and it's going to run the tracking program. So I'll be back when this is done. Alright, so we're back and we have our camera solve, and it looks like everything is sticking pretty well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the advanced tab, and we've got a 0.47 average error, which is pretty good. 0.5 and below is always pretty good. We can adjust our point size if we want to see our points a little bit better, but they're looking pretty good. So what we want to do now is go ahead and choose an origin point to use over in Cinema 4D. So you just want to sort of play around here until you get something that is lying pretty flat, and that looks pretty good. If we click on there, I've got these 3 points selected. I'm going to right click and I'm going to set the ground plane and origin. So that's what we're going to use over in Cinema 4D. And I'll go ahead and right click and create shadow catcher, camera, and light. Go ahead and save this. Save it as AP2. We'll rewrite that. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to export my Maxon Cinema 4D file. So we'll call it AP2 again. Say yes. We'll replace it. Let's jump on over here and open that file up. AP2. And if we just take a look at this, if we go outside the camera, we can see our camera is right here, and if we just drag that timeline, we can see that it's doing the same thing that the camera was in the video footage. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and change the color of my shadow catcher. You don't have to, but it's something I like to do. Turn that off for a second. Let's go ahead and get the footage in the background. So we'll create a new material by double-clicking. Double-click the material, turn the specular off. We'll go into the color channel and we'll load up that file. Say no. Now if we go into the video or the sequence, click on the animation tab, we'll calculate that, and it calculates the start and end frame. Now if we put the background object in there, we can put the material on the background object. And if we just drop something in the scene, we can see that that origin point is exactly where we put it over in After Effects. Alright? Great. Next thing I want to do is open up the logo. So let me just open this up. And I'll just edit copy this. Go back into my main scene. Paste that in. And now we have that sitting exactly where we want. I'm probably going to try and move that over a little bit in this direction, maybe over here, something like that. And that's looking pretty good. Okay, so what I have here is I've got the logo, and I've got a broken version of it that I used the explode plugin to pre-fracture it. All right. And what we're going to want to do is set the dynamics up for this whole thing, and when the safe comes down and hits it, up until the point where the safe hits it, we're going to have this logo showing, and when it touches it, we'll have this one show. So pretty simple. If I go to the content browser, I can double click to select my safe. I'll make that safe a little bigger, something like that. Also going to come over here and grab all of these pieces of the safe, right click, connect objects and delete. Get rid of some of this stuff. Let's see. Get rid of these. Really don't care about any of that. Take it out from underneath its null. Get rid of that. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's pick this thing up a little bit. Move it over. Let's go into another view so we can see it a little better. So we need it to be on top of this. Something like that. And we need to pull it out of frame like that. Let's go ahead and put a simulation tag on that. And that's going to be a rigid body. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to say that I don't want this to actually start falling until about frame 60. So I'm going to go to 59. And I'm going to check or uncheck enabled. Put a keyframe there. Go to 60. Enable it. Put another keyframe so it won't actually start falling until 60. And let me see, I want to go to collision, change the bounce to maybe 2, friction to 300, mass, I'm going to go to custom, change this to 50, and the custom mass, we're going to leave it at, we'll leave it at 10, see what happens. For the broken logo, got my simulation tag on there. We're going to go with a custom density of 3, custom mass of 1200. Let's go ahead and turn this on. And I've got a display tag here. Let me just go ahead and delete that for a minute until we see what we've got going on here. I need to put a simulation tag on the shadow catcher. So we'll go to simulation and put a collider body on that. And for the collisions, let's say 0, 300 for friction. And let's just see what we have so far. So we're running, nothing's happening. At 60, the safe should fall. There it comes. All right, nothing's happening. So the logo's not crumbling. Let's see why that's happening. If we go to the broken logo, we need to go to collision and change this to, well, it's already at what it should be. Let's go ahead and take this off of here for a second because that was already on here from an earlier version. I'm going to go to simulation tag, rigid body. I want to change the inherit tag from none to apply to children so that it's going to affect everything below it. Let me just run through here. Okay, so that's falling immediately. I don't want it to fall until something hits it, so on collision. Let's go back. At 60, our safe should fall. All right, there we go. Now it's falling all the way through, so we need to go look at our shadow catcher, which is turned off. Take a look at this. Dynamics are off. So it should be, oh, I see. The shadow catcher is way too small. Let's go ahead and increase the size of that. Whoop. Let's grab the shadow catcher, increase the size of that. Now let's go. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Let's go back. Let me look at these parameters here again. Let me go to mass, world density. Let's go to custom density. Let's change this to 3 and change the custom mass to 1200. Let's see what we get now. And you can really just play with this stuff all day long. It can take forever. Okay, but that looks a little bit better. All right. I want to increase the mass of my safe. So custom mass, custom density, custom mass. Let's call this 100 and see what we get there. Okay, we're going forward. At 60 it starts. Okay. So I'm okay with that. That doesn't look bad. So now we just need to take a look and see where exactly we need to put the display tags on the two logos. So it's coming at 60, boom, right there. That is at 98. So the broken logo, or the logo, needs to be showing now. So if we go and put a display tag on here, we need to turn on the visibility option. And let's go ahead and set the visibility to 100%. Let's move up 1 to 99, and we'll turn that to 0. Put another keyframe there. We'll go backwards to 98. We will put another display tag on the broken logo, or the one that's in pieces. Turn this one to 0% here. Put a keyframe there. Go 1 frame up. Turn that to 100%. Put another keyframe. Let's go back to the beginning. So right now we have the unbroken logo there. Say falls, cracks. Okay, so let's try something a little different with the broken logo. Let's change this to maybe 1100. See what we get there. We get something that works a little bit better. There it comes. All right, so not everything is dying there. And that'll change every time you do this. As I said, the dynamics is just something you've got to play with until you get it, until it works for you. Let's try something else. Let's try moving the safe a little bit. So I'll move that over a little bit. Something like that. See if that helps us out. Okay, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and play around with this for a minute until I get something that works. I don't want you to have to sit here and waste time watching me do this, so I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so I found something that worked, and I went ahead and cached the data, or cached the simulation, as you can see here. Go ahead and run that. And there we go. All right, so we're making some progress. Now let's go ahead and take this light right here and change this from an omni light to an infinite light. Come over here so we can see that a little bit better. And just pull that up and over. And maybe push that down. Let's go ahead and turn on area shadows for that. Take a quick look. Let's get at another point here. Maybe something like that. All right. Let's go ahead and also put a target grab a target tag here and put our logo in there. We can move this around a little bit. See how this is going to look. Just sort of playing around with our shadows until we get something that we like. There we go. Oh, that's not going to work. Let's see what that looks like. Let's go in this top view. And we'll just move this over here. Maybe a little back this way. Alright, that's going to be okay. Let me just try this over here. Alright, that's going to be fine. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put an object buffer over here on the shadow catcher. So we'll put a compositing tag on there. We'll go to the object buffer. We'll enable that. Come over here to our render settings and let's change this to best. Let's go ahead and drop in a shadow pass, an ambient occlusion pass, and an object buffer pass. Let's go ahead and in the effects, let's drop in ambient occlusion, take that to about 10%. Let's go ahead and drag this over here. See how we look. Alright. Let's go ahead and drop another light in the scene, just so we can light this up a little bit better. Maybe turn that down. Do another render. Okay, so I think that's looking okay. Let's go ahead and save this. Come back over to After Effects and let's take a look at what we've got here. I'm going to go to the project. I'm going to double click here. I'm going to find my file, the AP2 file. I'm going to drag that into my comp. There we go. Now I'm going to turn the renderer from software to draft to start out with. See, this is going to calculate. It's going to give me a little better result here. And I want to turn on my multipass and my defined multipass. And then I'm going to click on Add Image Layers. And it's going to pull in my ambient occlusion, my shadow, my object buffer. So I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to go ahead with the object buffer above my RGBA layer. I'm going to click on Luma Matte to get rid of this. I'm going to take my shadow pass, I'm going to put it underneath, and my ambient occlusion layer, that's going to have to go on to final. Okay, now so obviously we have an issue here. This doesn't look right. We need to separate the logo from the shadow catcher here. So let's go take a look at what we have going on over here. Okay, and so what we've done is we've put the object buffer on the shadow catcher, and we should have put it on the logo. So let's go ahead and put that right here on the broken logo. That's going to make more sense. Click Save. Let's go back to After Effects. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. So at this point, I think all we would need to do is to probably put an adjustment layer in here and maybe put a little contrast on it. Play around with the curves a little bit. And just come up with something that you like color-wise. Also, on mine, I put the little motion blur on the safe as it was falling. And that's about it. Okay, so that about wraps it up. Let's take a look at the final one more time.
Roger, this is the tower. We have a high-velocity object inbound at Tier 12. Please confirm.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that. My name is Chris Martin with Free Effects Tutorials, and we'll see you next time.